What is up, fellow dorks? Thank you for tuning in to Mana Rant episode 44, a historic podcast. We specialize in everything in the historic format, and that includes historic brawl as well. We are the Mana Dorks. My name is Michael Apollo, and I am not going to be an idiot this week and be tricked by these two tricky tricksters, even though I will for sure be an idiot and lose on the card game later on in the show in the combat phase. But you guys got me really good last week, by the way. That was like, seriously, that was like one of the most hilarious things ever. You guys, like, I did not expect DrunkenDork to like show up in Pensacola.
That was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was pretty good.
So next we have the master of whiskey and all things jank. Somehow the more Tom Cruise and his eyes spin in different direction, the better he plays his dumb jank. We have Hoshi.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, may Tom Cruise's blessing be upon you as well.
Oh, no,
Oh my
no.
God, what?
And then finally, we have a man who spent most of his New Orleans trip blacked out, pants down, Peloton fam, back from the dead of New Orleans, DrunkenDork.
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Like I told these two, I don't think my body will allow me to go on vacation again. At least not like that. One more time and I'm dead. I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen. I'm just going to get like,
Probably.
I'm just going to die. It's not going to be able to take it because I drank for like 7 days straight. See, I can't even count, man. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Numbers?
Numbers and counts and stuff.
No, it was this many days, this one, yeah.
A week?
Something like that.
All right. We are the Mana Dorks, and if you didn't know, our show follows the actual phases of Magic. So we have, of course, our Untap, Upkeep, Draw, main phase 1, Combat, main phase 2, our End Step, Cleanup, and then finally our Discard. However, if you are watching on YouTube and you just want to watch the meat and potatoes, this week, the main topic of the show will be in our main phase 1. So feel free to use the annotations below and skip ahead if you'd like at any point in time in the show. And with that, we will start at the beginning. Like you do every single game of Magic, we start with our Untap step. And that's where we untap a drink of our choice.
Sweet.
Yeah. Let's untap her up.
Oh, there we go. There's one untapped beer right there.
I am being ultra today.
Nice.
Michelob Ultra. Organic seltzer cucumber. Cucumber lime. Yeah, keep it low on the cows, but get the Alchemy Hounds. Hoshi, that's not whiskey.
It's not, no. I like Drunken said last week, I was almost in a coma as well, so I need to cool it on the spirits a little bit so that I don't die. And so I'm drinking a Sour Monkey Triple right now, which is not toning it down super too much, but yeah,
triples in the name. It's got to be
I can't
3
drink
times
just
something.
Normal beer. Yeah, what? What am I? One of them yellow bill shishies?
Yeah.
Well, dude, that's why you get the ultra, brother. You get the it's got to have some kind of cool name.
Right?
Oh, okay, nice.
Drunken, what are you drinking this week?
This week I'm just drinking a agua fresca with alcohol in it, though. It's delicious.
Nice, dude. Dig it. Well, cheers to you boys.
Well,
we're
cheers.
all again on stream. Cheers to everyone in chat. Cheers to everyone on YouTube or wherever you're listening to us on the podcast. And with that, we will go into our Upkeep. Upkeep is Reddit Rant, and that is going to be done by Hoshi. So, Hoshi, what are we ranting about this week?
All right, so we're doing Reddit Rant now. And Reddit Rant is where we scour the internet for lunatics ranting about Magic, which is pretty easy to do because Magic the Gathering is a card game that incites frustration and lunacy in many people. And it just never stops. Every week, the internet is a gift that keeps on giving for the Reddit ranters. And Apollo actually found this one this week, and this guy is a true blue idiot, so let's jump right into it. Found on the Magic Arena MTG Facebook page, this guy, Donick, he hops right into it with Decks I have no respect for. Shoot Swarm. Wow, you can play a land. Impressive. Cycling. Wow. How to do... Wait, what? Oh, yeah. So his grammar is not great either, and his misspellings, which is just perfect for this guy. Cycling. Wow. How do you learn to discard like that? Mutation. Oh, you played another card on top of that one again? You just keep doing that. So cool. Wow, look at all the swoots, swivels, cycles, and mutate players in the comments. Yeah, so... This guy, holy shit. The comment section, yeah, he was not wrong. He knew he was going to get roasted. Yeah, he is just so roasted in this one. What a douche, dude. That's
cringe.
Posts I have no respect for. Yeah. Decks have no respect for you. Yeah, and whatever bullshit you're playing. So many great comments on this one.
Absolutely.
Just a storm on this idiot. Yeah. I just love, like, yeah, okay, the people are playing these decks. Like, yeah, why do you need to, like, have respect for the other person's deck? Like, first of all, this guy's clearly playing standard, right? There's
yes.
like, what, like 4 or 5 decks in standard? Yeah, no shit, dummy. That's what you're gonna run into when you play a limited format like that. There's not... Yeah. Like, what genius deck is this guy playing? Of course he doesn't mention that.
You know, he's probably, like, I was looking at the top decks in Standard, and Mono Red is, like, of course, his top. And so he's probably just a Mono Red fucking cocksucker, because he's obviously a fucking idiot, right? Like, Onyx Lake, whatever the fuck your name is. You know, dude.
He's like, I go burn to face. Yeah. I smart.
yeah, absolutely.
I is smart.
Yeah, exactly. I go fire. Yay.
Yeah, this is like completely ridiculous and like super uncalled for. Mm-hmm. This is just, I think it's so insulting and you know what, I normally don't call people out like this, but you're like an asshole, dude. Like, to call people out on what decks they play, who gives a fuck, man? Like,
yeah.
And you have, so should they play something that you respect? Like, I lost, but I respect that deck. Like, who gives a shit, dude? People are trying to play to win, man. Yeah. And then these decks are like, I mean, I don't know how they are in standard, but I don't think they're trying to win. I think they're trying to do some silliness, right? Like, cycling does silliness, mutation does silliness, Skewed Swarm does silliness. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, of course they can win.
Yeah. Those are competitive, actually, in standard. Those are, like, really strong. I mean, we never see them in historic because they're not competitive. Yeah, exactly. Because they're silly in historic, but in standard they actually are powerful decks. So this guy's probably getting just, like, ripped apart by him. And so he's like, I'll show them. I'll make a Facebook post. Let them know I don't respect them when they beat me with their silly decks, you know?
Little did he know he got more laid up than the rest of the world when the what was the basketball team back in the 90s, the Olympics. What was our team?
Oh, the Dream Team. The Dream Team.
Yeah. More than the Dream Team laid up the rest of the world, dude. Like, this guy just gets laid up. Shit's nice. Yeah, sounds like shit bronze players say. Yeah, this is.
Yeah. That was what a boomer reference you just made there.
Absolutely.
Remember,
you should have thrown that. You should have thrown that in the comics. Yeah, in the comments. Yeah, back in my Dream Team,
we had the basketball games. Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley.
Wow.
Yeah, that's old, dude.
Really dating yourself there, dude.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. All right, well, let's move back into this century and let's wrap up Reddit Rant then. That was that was a great one. Back to last week was very like a sentimental, like back in the days of Magic and all this, and then now we're back full steam ahead into lunatic idiots, and there we go. So if you find somebody as dumb as this guy and you think it would be an interesting thing for us to make fun of, or you find some, crazy sentimental rant, sure, send it our way. You never know. It could make it onto the stream. So, yeah, that's it. Back to you, Paul.
All right, after our upkeep is always going to be our draw phase, and that's just what Magic formats or decks we have been playing this week. As for myself, we've been talking about this quite a bit on the stream, so I actually got a lot of recorded footage, so stay tuned to that on our YouTube channel. Something that Hoshi has kind of like challenged me to, since I'm more on the like strictly competitive best of 3 side of things on Historic, is it up to snuff? So what I do is I play a lot of the top tier decks, and the Historic format fluctuates drastically. It seems like almost every couple weeks now. With Mystical Archive, Historic Anthology 5 coming out, we're having the upcoming Dungeons and Dragons set. This format can shake up at like any given time. A deck that could have been like tier 3 is now like tier S, like for sure. So what I do is I take these decks into the queue and see if they still stand up. Are they still like in the top rankings that we predicted, so on and so forth. So this one deck I've been playing, I'm just going to talk about, is Selesnya Coco. I posted it onto our Aether Hub. Of course, if you're watching on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, look in those descriptions, and you can follow our Aether Hub so that way you can download these links or these decks to play on Arena yourselves. But yeah, so I don't know if you guys are taking a look at this deck. But yeah, Selesnya Coco, fuck, dude, this deck is so powerful. I mean, I know we've talked about it a few times on this stream, but it is just so insanely just efficient in what it does. Like from turns 1 to 4, it's super crucial, and it does the best things. Obviously, Collected Company being like the top end. But yeah, that's what I've been doing this week. What do you guys think about the deck, or have you guys even like played it at all? Or
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good
all
deck.
Over the place this week.
All right, Hoshi, what about you?
Yeah, I've been all over the place this week. Yeah, I played Coco Company. The Selesnya Company with that deck is very powerful. I mean, having Coco be able to pull out like 2 5/5s is pretty insane. Yeah. And then yeah, but I mean, Historic Anthology came out, so I just been trying all kinds of crazy stuff with that, like a lot of Reanimator nonsense. I was trying really hard to get like Trash for Treasure to work well, and trying to mix it up with other ideas with like Doom Foretold and all this stuff, and I'll talk about that later. And so I ended up having to ditch that, I think. And then I've been playing Steel, because Steel balls are super strong, dude, and they have just been I've been just murdering everybody with that deck. It's been awesome. Yeah, so just playing with the anthology cards, and they're great, man. Just great.
Sweet. Yeah, hell yeah. Drunken, what about you?
So yeah, like Hoshi just said, I've been playing a lot of the Reanimator deck that I talked about, but I changed it completely. And like Hoshi said, and I think in main phase 2, we're going to discuss it. Like, I mean, all of our ideas of what Historic Anthology 5, how it's been affecting us, and like how the cards have been affecting us. So I don't want to dive too deep into it, but I really like it. Yeah, I really like the Reanimator deck, and it has been doing really well for me for the most part. But yeah.
So this week's episode is actually pretty much segueing into itself. Every single phase is kind of going to go into the next theme here. The main topic, of course, is like Historic Anthology 5. This is the newest anthology set that has impacted the Historic format, and everything we're talking about kind of like segues into each other. So please be sure to like check out the whole show, because we got some really cool, relevant information and new decks, of course, you can take to Arena. So with that, we are going to go actually into our main topic, and that is main phase 1. So first, I want to ask you guys, Historic Anthology 5, first impressions. You know, I'm sure you guys have gotten a lot of testing, or at least a lot of fun with it. What started off with Hoshi? What's your first initial impressions? Any cards that stick out to you? Any cards that you think were good but are actually bad? Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dragonstorm is probably one of the biggest like upsets that I can think of cards that I thought was pretty much trash, which has turned out to be surprisingly usable. and I've gotten stomped by it a few times actually.
Oh, which card was that? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Dragonstorm.
Oh, Dragonstorm. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Dragonstorm. And then the Praetors are just great. I mean, they're so fun to play with. I mean, they almost have to be reanimated though, you know, and then because of their mana cost to even be competitive in Historic with how fast it is if you're not reanimating them, it's just ridiculous. And then I mean, and then the artifacts that came out that made the tempered steel decks usable now too. So there's a lot of like actual usable stuff in Historic Anthology 5s that I thought's been like really fun actually to play with. Especially like the Praetors are like the most fun, right? Because they're like these giant like crazy things that, you know, we're used to playing in Commander. So it's just really sweet to get to throw those things out on the battlefield.
Yeah, something with like the Praetors, like initially in a previous episode, I said that they're pretty much like trash. I mean, they're cool cards, and they'll definitely be good for Historic Brawl, but I said for the actual Historic format, they're probably just junk. And boy, was I wrong. You know, like there's an archetype, like literally I'm coining fucking Rihanna Praetor, like that, like literally reanimates the Praetors, and yeah, it's super efficient. So, you know, when you're wrong, you're wrong. And this guy was wrong. So Drunken, what about you? First impressions, cards that were a letdown to you, cards that are surprisingly really well. Take it away.
Okay, so am I going to talk about my Reanimator deck now or in main phase 2? Because
talk about your deck in main phase 2, but just like initial impressions.
Initial impressions, I think it's great, actually. You know, there's a lot of talk about it not having as big of an impact as the Mystical Archive. But, you know, I think it's having a huge impact, and I play against these cards all the time. I always see Praetors. I always see the stupid Dragonstorm fucking card, which is ridiculous, dude. And we all, and I think me and Hoshi called it as like the worst card, but like, dude, with fucking those spells that like allow you to just cast whatever, I forget what they're called, like the ultimatum and shit. People are just like going off with that fucking dragon card, and it's wild to see.
Mizzix's Mastery too, being able to play in the graveyard and everything.
It's a turn 4-5 dragons murdering you. Yeah, that's what it is. It's it's insane.
Love it.
I think it's really, really good. I really like this Historic Anthology, and I think out of all of them, I think it probably has some of the biggest impact besides maybe the Thoughtseize Historic Anthology, just because Thoughtseize is probably the most impactful card to come out of any of the Historic Anthologies. It's like probably one of the top played cards in Historic. So that would be the only exception to me.
So as we segue into this, we always like to discuss metagames with you guys. So with the impressions, by the time that you have already seen this, there is going to be a pro tournament that has already streamed on Twitch. So hopefully by the time you guys are seeing this, you have already seen it. But it'll be the Strixhaven Championship Historic Metagame. It's the Strixhaven Championship. But we have an article from Wizards about the Historic Metagame breakdown, and we kind of want to discuss some things, because I think it's pretty interesting. A lot of the things that we have talked about on this channel and on stream are actually correct. So, you know, take that with a grain of salt, because, who would have think these three dum-dums can get anything right? But, you know, apparently we're on to something here. And as DrunkenDork has just stated, Thoughtseize. If it's in anything, it's in. And that's something that's mentioned in this article. And something that was mentioned was that Thoughtseize and Binding of the Old Gods were some of the most popular played cards in the last couple of months. Now, as we go on, obviously we've had some bannings, with Thassa's Oracle and Historic Anthology 5, shaking up the format. So what do we have here for Historic Metagame Breakdown? Well, something that I was mentioning, and I said that you would see a quick rise in, is the Is It Phoenix decks. Just like Rogues, all they needed was just a few pieces to be efficient, and they finally got there. surprise, surprise, one of the most played cards in Historic is actually Steam Vents. So, you know, Izzet is in a really great place right now. For a total of like surprisingly 88 decks, 35.2% of the field on whatever algorithm they're basing their stuff on. This is Wizards, of course.
Yeah.
Well, these are all the decks that are going to be playing in the tournament because they submit their decks beforehand.
Okay. So this is like a pre-meta game.
Yeah, exactly. These are all the decks that have been submitted that are going to be played tomorrow or like on Friday, basically.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they all know what they're playing against.
So that's like actually really surprising to me then that one, like I knew Izzet Phoenix was a really strong deck, but do you guys think it warrants 35.2% of the field? I mean, that's really high. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, the fact that this deck is disrupted by Graveyard Hate, it just really, it tears it apart, and it can't do literally anything against Graveyard Hate, which, I mean, it's pretty easy to do, I feel like, in the meta right now. Yeah, sure, they have a good sideboard. That's a good thing about Izzet Phoenix. I mean, Izzet's probably the best color combination in Historic, obviously, otherwise people wouldn't be playing it, but it really struggles against that. So, I don't know, I guess we'll end up seeing it, but I don't, you know, like, if it's 35%, 88 numbers, 88 players are going to play this deck. The likeliness of this winning is higher because there's more people playing it, but I really don't think it's going to win.
Agree. Yeah, I agree. It is an amazing deck, but what you just said is completely correct. I mean, it falls apart to graveyard strategies.
It does have other ways like Sprite Dragon and stuff, so they can do like little bits of control and stuff here and there, but yeah, so I have lost to them without them getting the Phoenixes really, like, or at least a bunch of them into play, but still, I mean, if you take out their Sprite Dragons, then that's it.
Yeah.
They
I wonder,
can't do anything.
I mean, not to put down any of the pros that are playing this. Obviously, they chose this for a specific reason, but I wonder if they're doing it because it's easier wins, like less big brain plays. Because I don't know. I play a lot of Izzet Phoenix, and I play a lot against Izzet Phoenix, and I don't lose to him very often, especially with like my Gruul decks and
Me either.
Selesnya. I mean, scavenging is. I just eat their stuff and I have a bigger creature. And once it gets like too big, they just have no way of really handling it.
Yeah.
So I don't know, really interesting, but yeah, I don't think it's going to take first place. There'll probably be a deck in the top 8.
I'm glad you mentioned that because to me, Gruul Aggro is still like one of the most powerful decks I run against. And it's like, it's a very small percentage. Right? Like, it's not as small as the rest of everyone. You know, it's still like number 8 or 10 or something like that. But I'm surprised it's not higher. Gruul Aggro is so good, and it has such a good sideboard. Like, it's wild to me that it's this low.
Yeah, super interesting. Just Guy Turns. Now, one of our followers on the Dork Fam on our Discord, be sure to click the link in our description below if you're watching on YouTube to join the Dork family, has mentioned Turns, actually Simic Turns, a deck that I have made and recorded a video, which will also be up on our YouTube channel. But this is Just Guy. Yeah. Just Guy Turns. I mean, I don't even think I've ever seen this. Have you guys been seeing Just Guy Turns? And does it warrant 18% of the meta?
I've lost to this deck for sure. And one thing that I want to say is the main front runner of this deck is the legendary Elder Dragon from Lorehold, which I remember when we were going over these decks, someone mentioned that was their favorite card out of the set, this guy right here, and I remember some idiot named DrunkenDork was like, poo-poo on that card. And poo-poo on that card. I just want you to once again eat an entire load of shit. So yikes. I mean, it's really good, I think. I mean, the dragon coming out, having haze, hitting you for 5 in the face, and then pulling out an extra turn card out of the deck with it as well is like, if it comes out, like, it's pretty much over. It's really good.
Drunken, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, no, Hoshi's right. Yeah, I got this one wrong. That card is good for sure. I've lost to it many times. I've lost to Jeskai turns. Same thing though as a Phoenix. Like, sure, Graveyard doesn't hit it that bad, but it's kind of combo-y is what the way it works. And so it can get disrupted, I feel like, pretty easily. So, like, if I was going to put that or Jeskai Control ahead, I would put Jeskai Control over Jeskai Turns. Like, I think Jeskai Control kind of owns that deck. But, yeah, that's what I think.
I would agree, but, you know, what's funny is Take extra turn decks always seem to find some way to sneak their way in this format.
to get their extra turns and then win the game.
Yeah, I mean, you get rid of Nexus, of Fate, and it's like, I'm still going to do it. I don't care. I'm going to come back. So, as DrunkenDork has mentioned, 9.6% of the meta with 24 decks is Jeskai Control. That is a control deck that we've all expressed is the superior form of control, and rightfully so. So, I mean, we've talked about it many times on this stream. Do you guys have any comments? You guys surprised to see it there? Anything to add? Yeah, no, of course. No, it's there. Jund Food, another one. Yeah, you don't see it too much probably in the ladder, but again, something else that I've mentioned, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it's not good.
Yep.
It has always done the stuff that has been doing really well. And at 7.2% of the meta, 18 decks, not surprised there. Moving on, we have Mono Black Aggro. Again, another deck that we have talked about. And I am super stoked to see, like, we are like literally... We're on fire, man. Like NBA Jam, another throwback to the 90s there. 5.2% of the meta with 13 decks, Mono Black Aggro. Super efficient, insanely strong. Of course, we've already talked about it. 4.8%, 12 decks, Selesnya Company. No surprise. Anytime Collected Company is in a format, it is going to be near top, like, S+. This one... As DrunkenDork has mentioned, is insanely surprising. 4.4%, 11 decks, Gruul aggro. What? Why?
Yeah.
Like, do you have any like reasons why? Do you guys know?
I mean, oh, go Hoshi.
I don't know. I mean, it just must not be. Maybe they're sideboarding really well against it. I don't know. But I do feel like I run into Phoenix way more than Gruul nowadays. I run into Phoenix all the time. But I still run into Gruul every once in a while. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know,
maybe the pros just don't like it. You know, they're too classy for your Gruul nonsense.
So, something that Gruul suffers from is something that Mono Red suffers from. At the beginning of every, like, new block, Mono Red usually, like, or Red aggro in general, usually takes tier 1 very quickly until the format kind of stabilizes and then it fizzles out.
Yeah.
Like in this instance. Gruul usually sticks around for a large part of the format. And then we've seen this time and time again with Return to Ravnica. We've seen this with Khans of Tarkir. Gruul just fizzles and it either turns to Jund or turns to Temur, or unfortunately seems like it's dropping. Still a very powerful deck, but
I mean,
there's got to be something here.
Dude, Gruul aggro is so good. Scavenging Ooze is phenomenal, and it just murders Is It Phoenix, you know, with cards like Bone Crusher Giant and Scavenging Ooze. Like, that deck just works so well, and it's hard to imagine that at the end of this that Gruul aggro isn't going to be one of the top decks. Like, I really do think that this deck is like it should be played in this, I guess, in this fucking Pro Tour League whatever higher than it is.
I mean, whoever's piloting these Gruul decks, I'm going to be rooting for them. I think, like, it takes a very skilled player to play Gruul with the current meta, just because, like, a lot of decks are not necessarily easier. They're just so fucking powerful that Gruul really has to be careful with its plays if it doesn't have the turn 3 Embercleave, right? Like, how are you using your spells? Whether you have, like, the form of removal with Domri's Ambush, or if you're using, like, Abundant Harvest, what spells are you using and how are you using them the most efficiently? I think it literally has to have, like, really big brain plays, and if you make, like, one mistake, that could be, like, super detrimental against the other decks.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so just
Yeah.
Aether Wisp on our chat says, I think green-red aggro decks are weak to Lightning Helix. And you know what? That is very true. What Lightning Helix, I
maybe,
completely forgot about that. Really fucking...
Super good.
Yeah, it really affected that deck because Cruel Aggro is about coming in, hitting hard, and like going kind of over the top quickly. And Lightning Helix just really shuts them down, for sure. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, life gain and 3 damage, like lightning bolt and 3 life, like that's that fucks
Super
it up real good.
All right, let's go through the rest of them.
Yeah. So, what up, just Aether Whips? Just thank you for joining in on the chat. So, just flying through the rest of the decks here, we have 5-color Niv Mizzet, weird little combo deck with 2% of the meta.
5%.
Cool.
2%. Yeah.
Cool. That's weird. Usually you see this on Historic Brawl, but I guess, it's on Historic.
No,
Any
it's good.
comments?
It's a lot of removal.
Yeah.
Is it just like just removal everything?
It's like removal tribal with Niv Mizzet in there. He like comes in. It's really good. I lost to it for sure. It's very frustrating to play against.
So we have Dragon Storm with 4 decks at 1.6%. You love to see it combo. So usually you see aggro, mid range, and control, but it is really cool that you get to see some kind of combo strategies in the metagame. We've already talked about Dragon Storm, so super cool to see it here. Azorius Auras, I'm super surprised in. Maybe Drunken can shed some light on that. I would think it would be Orzhov Auras. But
Azorius Auras, I think, is still a little bit better. I don't think we need to name all of them. There's a lot. I think the rest are all less than 1%.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, that's it. The other decks are 10.4%. That's it. It's just Azorius Auras after that.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you?
I think Dragon Storm is just they're playing that in the tournament. Like they're playing Dragon Storm, a 9-mana meme card in a historic tournament. That makes my Jank heart super duper happy to see that. So I love it.
Janky. Well, before we get more into the janky janks, we're gonna take some time for Apollo to lose. So we're gonna move into combat. That is the horseshit card game, and I'm gonna let DrunkenDork take it away and tell us how we're gonna play.
What is up, everyone? This is Horseshit Card Game. This is a game where I open up a pack of Magic cards, and this week it's Corset 2020, and I pick out 3 cards from here, but I name 4. Thing is, one of them's fake, and it's up to these 2 drunken idiots and any of the idiots in the crowd to pick out which one is fake. And recently, I've been getting them wrong. I'm kind of sad Jacavio's not here because, I mean, he was joining you every week, Apollo. Like, he was one of the idiots for sure. I love you, Jacavio. I'm gonna call you out though for sure.
Yeah. Well, where are we going this week?
Yeah, what are we doing? Oh yeah, we gotta bet again. We gotta bet. Yeah, and the standings also. What are the standings?
So the standings is I am for sure in last place with -5, and then in second place, rounding off. So the way that DrunkenDork's bets work is it's the offset of myself and Hoshi's. So he is sitting at a cool 0, and then we have Hoshi somehow at 5 points. Eyes spinning and everything. 5 points, man. So he's got a healthy lead. So before we bet, we got to know what planes we're going to, right? So where are we going?
Yeah. It's Corset 2020.
Corset 2020.
Yeah.
A shitty year for everyone.
Yeah.
It's going to be a shitty day for me, too. I'm going to get this fucking wrong.
All right, so what are you betting? Because I already have all my cards picked out.
I'm betting, what's the max bet? 3?
3.
Going in, 3. Going 3, baby.
3, baby.
I bought three boxes of 2020. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to get it wrong. 3 boxes. I know I'm getting it wrong.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna do 1.
1?
I'm gonna do 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 3 for Apollo, 1 for Hoshi. Let's start this off. So the first card's going to be Lavakin Brawler. It is 3 and a red for a creature elemental warrior at common. It says whenever Lavakin Brawler attacks, gets +1/+0 until end of turn for each elemental you control. And it is a 2/4. The second one's going to be Furious Pup, or Ferocious Pup. It is 2 and a green for a creature wolf at common, and it says when Ferocious Pup enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. And it is a 0/1. The third one is Moment of Heroism. It is 1 and a white for an instant at common, and it says target creature gets +2/+2 and gains lifelink until end of turn. Finally, we have Suspend Existence. It is 3 and a blue for an instant at common. It says return target permanent to its owner's hand. If a creature was returned this way, draw a card. So I'm going to start it off with Hoshi. What do you got for me, Hoshi? I feel like I should start with Apollo just because he fucking loses all the time. And I don't want... Anytime someone loses, actually, I'm going to start with them first. You know, that's how I'm going to do it going forward. But since I already said Hoshi, what do you got with your measly 1 point, you giant fucking...
What was the first one again? What was the mana cost on that?
Lavakin Brawler, 3 and a red.
I'll go with that one.
Lavakin Brawler for Hoshi. All right, Apollo, you opened up like 5,000 boxes of this. What? Which one do you think it is?
That is true.
I'm like almost 100% positive that the first two are actual cards. Could you say the Wolf Pup again, and then the last card, the Bounce Spell? That one sounded a little suspect.
Ferocious Pup. It is 2 and a green for a creature wolf at common. It says when Ferocious Pup enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token, and Ferocious Pup is a 0/1. And then what was the other one you wanted?
The Bounce Spell, the blue.
So that's Suspend Existence. It is 3 and a blue for an instant at common. It says return target permanent to its owner's hand. If a creature was returned this way, draw a card.
I'm gonna go with the Bounce Spell.
Bounce Spell. All right. So
yeah, that's my second. That's my second guess.
One of you two are right. Aether Wisp says the Bounce Spell.
Thinks it's the Bounce Spell.
Okay.
As well, yeah.
So
right, Bounce Spell's fake.
Hoshi, you fucking idiot. You got it wrong, buddy.
Oh, I knew it.
Oh, man. Not only does it mean...
Yeah.
So, God, you really fucking offset my points, you douchebag. It's not about you or Apollo. It's about me, all right? I need my points to be in the positive. Now I'm in the fucking negative. Good job. I'm not trying to, shit on you, Apollo. Even a fucking trash can gets steak every once in a while. I just wanted to know that.
Times Apollo won. Apollo's not an idiot.
No, that's not true.
Oh yeah, I'm still.
That's good. I almost changed mine. The second you mentioned that. I was like,
good job, Just Aether Wisp. You got it right. Like every week.
Nice.
Dude, you know what's really dumb is I should probably spend more money on buying boxes because apparently that helps. Like I should just buy more boxes.
Yes, absolutely.
That's exactly what you should do.
Yeah, I agree.
So you can win. Yeah.
Just so I can win the horse.
All right. So what's the standing now then? Okay, so Apollo, you're up to what?
I'm -2 now. You are
nice.
4. And then Mike takes the brunt of that.
Oh, wait. You bet 3? Oh, actually, so I'm actually +2.
Yeah.
I'm +2 right now.
Yeah.
No, because
because he bet 3, you bet 1, you lost. So I got 2 points. So I am.
But you lost.
I lost 1.
No,
but
you
I got
-2.
You lost. You lost.
Oh
3.
yeah,
you lost 3 because he got it right.
Yeah,
because
I
got it right.
1 because I lost.
God,
1.
this is confusing. Anyway,
you're at -2.
I am the true fucking idiot here. -2.
You're at -2.
With Apollo, God, that's embarrassing. Get me out of his fucking court,
I'm at -2. Catching up. Sweet.
Yeah.
That is the horseshit card game.
You're tied.
Yeah, dude, that was a good one. Let us know in the comments below. Did you get the card right? Were you correct Like this guy. It's once in a while, man. Give it to me. Come on. It's once in a fucking blue moon. So let us know in the comments below. Yes, slow claps all around. Cheers to me. Moving on, we go to main phase 2. Normally that's Wildcard of the Week and the metagame showcase. We already talked about some metagame stuff, so there's no need to talk about it again. Wildcard, though, we do want to talk about it. We do think it's important that we talk about wildcards of the week because rares are a thing and you should be using them efficiently. This week, we have decided that it should be, and no surprise from what we've been talking about, Faithless Looting.
Yeah.
That card fits in almost damn near anything. Is it Spell Slingers, whatever have you? Hey, splash
black red reanimator, like I mean the one where you're just like casting 1 mana spells, like yeah, it works amazing in that deck.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything else to add before we move on?
Great pick. You picked a good one for once, Apollo. I'm proud of you.
Well, it's a consensus here, man. I mean, it's a consensus. We all work as a group. That Hoshi.
I think this is
he's on to something with this one.
This is just one of those ones that's going to work in so many decks. It's not like one of those niche ones where you're drunk and you're like, I think this deck's going to be strong, and then you just wasted your wild cards on something. I think this is one that you could be positive is going to be useful.
I mean, it's banned from Modern, so that's got to say something, right?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
If they can only just like allow you to just pay for the art, like to not be there because the art's so bad, it's so disgusting.
I do. I have the Japanese one.
Well, no, that was an event. Some people might have missed that. They should just like make it a thing. Like, just get rid of Faithless Looting art.
The Japanese one is so much better.
It's amazing.
It's so nice.
Not even comparison.
It's all about the fucking 5-year-old drawing one. I love it.
yeah, literally. Like baby's first time on Photoshop.
Yeah, for sure.
So what we also wanted to talk about in this segment was Jank versus competitive. So if you don't know, we're not going to go too deep into our intros and stuff, but I'm more competitive. Hoshi's more janky, and DrunkenDork's a little bit in the middle. He plays a little bit of everything. You at least play a lot more best of 1 than I do. I am like strictly best of 3, pure competitive, and Hoshi loves his janky jank, and Historic has brought a lot to the competitive scene and to the jank scene. So we got some decks. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe, click that bell notification, give that a thumbs up. It helps us out. And of course, we will always provide you guys with all of our deck lists, just in the description. Go ahead and click them, play them on Arena, because these decks are actually really good. A deck that I've been talking about, deck that I talked about last week, is the Tempered Steel, or also known as Artifact Aggro. Hoshi, you've been playing this deck. This is more on the competitive side. Let's just start it off with you. What do you think about this deck as a competitive deck?
I think this is the strongest deck I've played in a very long time, actually. It's just absolutely murdering everybody. I played Drunken's deck first. I tried his Azorius version of this, and I found it a little too slow. Where this one is just, it's balls to the walls, get the creatures down, and just kill them by turn 3, basically. Have no chance. And even if you don't, the thing that is the most surprisingly powerful card I felt out of this deck is Blink Moth Nexus, which is just absolutely insane. Because it doesn't matter if you get controlled out, because if they don't kill Blink Moth Nexus, they're done. It's they're usually so low by the time they actually board wipe you or take care of most of your threats, and then you have a flying artifact that you've probably buffed up at that point already to finish them off. So it's almost a for sure win at that point. It's just surprising how intense this deck is, really, and how resilient it is, despite the fact that it's a pure creature deck almost with no removal. I've
played. I mean, what? No, keep going.
Oh, I was just gonna say, what did you think? Because I have a thought of like one kind of weakness that I really think about this deck, but I was wondering what your thoughts were about it.
Well,
since you created it,
it's super aggro. Something we've been talking about in pre-production is, I mean, Bomat Courier is just, it's stupid. It's like stupid good, right? It's really good, and I'm not saying this is like an upgrade, but maybe a variant of the deck. I was thinking of I think it's like Sacred Foundry or whatever, the Lord, the Artifact Lord, the 3 mana cost that...
yeah, it's like Foundry Inspector or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I think that might be key, because the thing is you do need them to be as strong as quickly as possible. Something else that you mentioned on pre-production is All That Glitters. It is cool. It is really, like, I wouldn't say cute. It is really strong, but something you mentioned, and I'll let you segue into that, but a lot of people have answers for it. They're either waiting for it, they have a way to remove it, and then you just kind of get 2 for 1, which is, like, pretty lame, you know? So in that aspect... I would probably go with what you suggested, but I'll once again, I'll let you say that. But yeah, I don't know. I would think like I would need some advice from DrunkenDork, actually, because he's also really proficient in this strategy because of Modern. But let's go ahead and finish your thought on how to fix this.
Okay, I want to say something after he's done about that card real quick. But after you're done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think All That Glitters is super powerful. It's a double-edged sword for sure, because if you get it on your creature, especially on the Volt Scourge, like, it's so insanely powerful. But you reach this point in the early game where you've dumped a bunch of things on the field, and they're still kind of low, toughness. And there's so much Izzet Phoenix and like Rule and stuff out there that they're sitting there with like, a Stomp in their hand, or like a Pillar of Flames or something like that.
Whatever.
And they're waiting for you to target, one of the cards with All That Glitters. And if you do, they hit it with that, and then you've lost 2 cards. And it's like, I've run into that situation almost every single time I've gotten All That Glitters. And it's just that sensation where you're like, do I wait? Do I hold on to it? Do I try and pump them up more first before I put it on? Or do I just YOLO it and try and put it on, And like, maybe I'll get it on there, or maybe it'll die, and then that might cost me the game right there. Yeah. So it's a great card, but I hate that feeling about it. And so my thought was maybe push a little bit harder on the red lands in this, and go for Embercleave on those 2 slots, because you're able to dump Ornithopters and all them down very early on turn 1, so you can get a massive mana reduction by the amount of like basically 1/1s that you're dumping out, and free 0 drops, on turn 1, so you can reduce Embercleave's mana by a lot to make it basically a 2-drop probably by the time you would swing on turn 2 or 3 with it. And Embercleave, would be massive, I think, with this. So I haven't tried it out yet, but that's just a thought that I have. And then Drunken, what do you think?
So I agree with everything you said. Embercleave would be good. The hard thing with Embercleave, I think, in this deck is Tempered Steel is also white-white. So white-white, red-red is a complicated thing to do when you're an aggressive deck. But the way I treat
agree.
All That Glitters is I treat it like Steel Overseer. So I actually think All That Glitters is better than Steel Overseer, because they're both lightning rods is what they are. The moment you drop Steel Overseer, it's a lightning rod. It's an immediate removal target. So it almost never does anything. And the difference is, like, when you have All That Glitters, so say you have Ornithopter out, and I don't know, Bomat Courier. If you drop All That Glitters on your Ornithopter and not your Bomat Courier, you leave like a potential like thought there for your opponent, where they really have to actually like think about that strategically, because you don't know which one you want to get rid of, because Bomat Courier is really fucking powerful in this deck, right? And but at the same time, All That Glitters on anything is also going to be powerful. So I think it leaves more tactical thinking for your opponent, like how to do it. And a lot of people play wrong. Like they'll just immediately hit the Ornithopter because they're like, oh, all that glitters is scary. But Bomat Courier in reality might be the more powerful card in this scenario. So I actually think like the better thing is keep all that glitters and take out Steel Overseer. I think that is the one that does the least in this deck. It's good when it's good, but experience. Like when it, I mean, when it hits the ground, I feel like 90% of the time people are just removing it and it does nothing. It's just 2 mana do nothing.
That's interesting.
I don't.
I mean, that's a really interesting point because, like, from a modern standpoint, obviously modern is more powerful than historic. You played Steel Overseer, did you not, in your affinity deck?
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely
obviously,
did.
this is not like affinity, but it's trying to imitate it, right? So like, why would you think, like, just because it's a lightning rod?
Well, so the difference is that all that glitters didn't exist when I used to play a lot of the that, you know, like that card was not around then, and it got put into affinity, like it was added in because it is such a powerful card in that deck. And I still think that, it's an amazing card. Like, there are times where I'd rather play all that glitters over Tempered Steel, depending on what I'm playing against.
Because for like just for 1 mana more, you get like even more pluses.
Yeah.
Sure, they're not counters, but the damage output could be potentially more, right?
Yeah.
I think the difference here is if they kill Steel Overseer, it's a 1-for-1. But if they kill your target of all that glitters, you get 2-for-1.
That's true.
Which is much worse.
Yeah, you are 100% right about that.
Yeah, it's a tough call. I mean, easily leaving all that glitters in there is a good, you know, it's good. And when it hits, it's pretty much game over most of the time.
I think it's about playing it correctly, though, right? Like, so if you have an Ornithopter out and you have a Vault Scourge and you have a Tempered Steel and you're like, okay, well, if I throw it on the Vault Scourge, it's the most powerful target, but like it's not necessarily the best target because then that just like really fucks you, you know, where the Ornithopter is probably the better target ultimately.
Yeah. The reason that I was thinking that of the Embercleave though is I don't like that uncomfortable decision where I have to sit there and like guess what my opponent's really gonna do. I like the Embercleave thought of it, of attacking and then putting them on the bad decision and then responding to that with the combat trick that is Embercleave to make me make the powerful decision and not my opponent. I don't like leaving it up to them. That part feels bad.
That's
to
very
me most
true.
of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it. I think it's a tough decision to make with that.
And
but
with that tough decision, I think it's best to leave it up to chat or the comments below.
Yeah. All right.
You figure out what's in the deck. No, we can go about this all day, but from the takeaway here, I think like we can all agree that this is a very strong archetype and one that we have predicted that is going to climb the ranks very quickly. So if artifacts are your kind of thing, do this deck. And the definite takeaway here is Hoshi's side is more on the efficient, aggressive plan with Embercleave, and Mike is on the, we're aggressive, but you don't have to shit out all your cards. You can play, not necessarily tempo-y, but you don't have to shit out your Tempered Steel. You don't have to shit out your Ornithopters. You can play a little bit more strategically, and so that way you maximize your damage every turn. They're both viable. So let us know in the comments below. And we want to hear from you guys. But we're going to move on because we got plenty other decks to go through. Both are Mardu, though.
Sure.
Mardu.
Ooh, yeah.
Mardu. Mardu's a favorite color pie of Hoshi over there. We got some trash fire. We got some dumpster fire, man. So why don't you take it away? Tell us about the deck. What the hell are we doing?
So this is a Reanimator deck that like I immediately wanted to make when I saw just Historic Anthology 5, and I think this was the one that I really poured most of my like Historic Anthology dreams into because it's got a lot in here. So it's got all Faithless Ludians, it's got 2 Relic of Progenituses in there, it's got the Stitcher Supplier to throw everything in there. It's got Icor Wellspring, which is a new card from Historic Anthology 5, which is the artifact that when it comes into the battlefield, value exactly. And so what's an amazing card with this? Doom Foretold. And it's so good when you get those two together, because you just draw 2 cards out of it and it's a sack outlet for Doom Foretold. Amazing. And so since I'm playing those artifacts, right, one of the other things that I wanted to play with that was Trash for Treasure, because once again, value. Trash for Treasure is an additional cost to this spell, sacrifice an artifact, so you can sacrifice Ichor Wellspring or the Relic of Progenitus if it's useless to you, right? And then return an artifact from your graveyard to the battlefield. And the artifact that I want to be returning is God Pharaoh's Gift, because this is a graveyard reanimator deck. And God Pharaoh's Gift is super amazing 7-drop artifact that at the beginning of your combat on your turn, you may exile a creature card from your graveyard. If you do, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's a 4/4 black zombie and gains haste until the end of turn. This gets around Grafdigger's Cage because you're not pulling it out of the graveyard. You're exiling it and then creating a token of it. So this gets around Grafdigger's Cage, which is one of the main things that is graveyard hate. So that's one of the really things I love about this. And then I got all the big beaters in there, man. I got some Doom Scars. I got also Unburial Rites in case I can't get God Pharaoh's Gift out there. But then I got 3 Elish Norns. I got a Platinum Angel. I got Shieldred. And then, of course, Ulamog, because, I've won so many games with this with a 4/4 copy of Hasted Ulamog just coming in and just exiling their deck, because a lot of these decks nowadays are just trashing their libraries into their graveyard. And you're like, hey, well, I swing in and, exile 20 cards out of your deck. Oh, you got 4 cards left now, so they're dead next turn. They have to kill me that turn or they're done. So I thought this deck was just I wanted to make it so bad, but there's a lot of moving pieces with it. And I just feel like it's missing a lot of consistency with it. It's amazing when it works. You can turn 3 Trash for Treasures and get out God Pharaoh's Gift and then pull out, Elish Norn or Shieldred or Platinum Angel or Ulamog. I've turned 3 Ulamogged with it before, and it's, Hasted Ulamog. It's amazing when that happens, but it's not, it's not as consistent as I wanted. So that's it.
I'm gonna say when I was looking at this originally, I was looking at completely the wrong deck. I didn't even realize you had 2 Mardu decks up there. So to everyone watching the live stream, I put on a different deck and. I see it now. I was like, where the fuck is Ichor Wellspring? But I found it. Yeah, this looks like looks like a pile of jank. I wouldn't expect anything less from you, Hoshi, but I'm not saying it's bad by saying that. You. It's just it's wild. It's a wild deck.
So I just really wanted these historic anthology 5 things to kind of culminate into something fun, and it is fun. This is a fun deck, and that's the great thing about jank is fun when it works. But it's just not. It's obviously it's not competitive. It's jank. And it's just great because there's a lot of weird reanimator stuff in it. But then the next deck, the other Mardu one, probably the one that you were showing, that's my more competitive version of it, which is much
it looks better. A lot better for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Cool.
The reanimator one, where and it's just so much.
And Apollo, I didn't put my deck up there, so when we go to talk about it, I'll just talk about it. Okay.
Yeah. Only thoughts I really have is on, I guess, both decks. Trim the one-ofs. So, I've been looking at the other one. I'm actually liking the other one more. The first
trash one?
Yeah, the trash one. And I'm going to say why.
Okay.
But there's some things I would remove, for sure.
Sure.
Keeping into the jank theme, get rid of the gates to the afterlife. I just think it's too cute. I would get rid of Platinum Angel. I would get rid of, where did I see it? Both Relic of watch. Just hear me out. Because you're not really getting rid of them. I would get rid of Teferi's Protection. And what I would definitely put in is the other 2 Trash for Treasure, so that way you have 4 ofs, and then I would put in Karn. And then with Karn, you have access to 7 cards in the sideboard. And then I would put Platinum Angel, Relic of Progenitus, Gate to the Afterlife. So that way you can, like, roll the dice and pick what you need when you need it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, 7 more cards in the sideboard.
I like that idea, but unfortunately, I'm not trying to cast those cards, and I think Karn's better for getting them in my hand to cast it. I'm trying to throw them in the graveyard most of the time, right? So the cards that I need in my hand, Karn can't get me. All those cards that I'm throwing in the graveyard, I want in the graveyard. So I want Stitcher Supplier and Mire Triton to throw them in the graveyard. So I don't think Karn, because I had that thought too. And I just don't think that works out that well with this one, because I'm trying to Faithless Looting and all that stuff early.
Okay,
it's a good thought. I don't think it works out as well, unfortunately. Because now I have them in my hand, but I have no way of discarding them usually. Right? It's going to be later in the game when I'm probably not looting as much.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I don't play Jank, but like from a competitive, I would want to be able to cast them if need be, like But for the second one, like it looks dope. I like the 4 copies. I like the Doomscar. I like the Faithless Looting. I like the Mana Tithe. Looks really cool. But yeah, it's super jank. And then of course, dude, you got Velomachus, dude, Lorehold. I mean, why wouldn't you?
It's so good. The amazing thing with the Velomachus in this one is when you're attacking with it, it hits a Reanimator spell in your deck, and you can pull a card out of your graveyard with it. So you're not hitting, Time Spiral, you're getting Elish Norn out, or you're getting Platinum Angel, or like Ulamog or something like that. So like Velomachus is super strong. That's why I went with a more like spelly type thing in this one, was because of that dragon.
Okay.
So I got Rip Apart too. Rip Apart is great too because of the graveyard hate that's out there, Grafdigger's Cage and all that kind of stuff. Rip Apart destroys those, so I can actually have access to my graveyard. I feel like this deck was way more consistent than the trash one was, unfortunately, because I like the trash one better because it's way more janky. and like crazy. It's way more crazy. You feel like a lunatic while you're playing it. Like, all right, here's my tinfoil hat, and now I'm gonna trash for treasure, the Icor Wellspring, and doom and pull the thing out. Yeah, it's all over the fucking place, but it's great.
But that's the point of this segment, right? It's jank versus competitive, man. Like, if you're going, you got to go all in on the jank cookies, dude. Super dig it.
This one's
it's cool. I like this second one a lot better for sure.
It's silly, but like in a really cool, fun way. DrunkenDork.
So
you're gonna break the mold here. You're kind of like in the middle. It's like competitive and janky. What are we talking about?
So I put my deck on the show notes so you two can look at it, and then everybody else will be able to see it. Basically, it is black, green, white Reanimator, and I changed it a lot. It's the same thing pretty much that I had last week, except for a few cards. Of course, S'mores and Bacon said, Unburial Rites is way better than that enchantment, and of course he's correct, because Burial Rites you can cast out of your graveyard. But one thing I found, and when I made this deck, was I had I believe I had Merciless Rider, whatever the hell it's called. The fucking
Murderous Rider,
Murderous Rider?
Yeah, Murderous Rider, so I had that in my deck, and I realized that these cards, these like dual like instant sorcery creature cards, work really, really well with Grizzly Salvage. And so then I needed board wipes. I realized this deck was kind of slow, so I put Realm Cloak Giant in there, because when I Grizzly Salvage, if I need to wipe the board because it is slow and there's a lot of aggro out there, I can just grab this, and then I can cast it for its Destroy All Creature side, and it works really well. And then I still have Mire Triton in here, and I realized that this card is a fucking gem in this deck, because gaining the 2 life, it helps a lot. And the Murderous Rider life gain also helps a lot. The big thing I noticed that I meant to change, I've been meaning to change, and I haven't, is I have 2 Vorinclex, and I want to take one out and have another Elish Norn, because I think Elish Norn is a lot better than Vorinclex.
Yeah.
But besides that, yeah, the deck has actually been performing very well for me. And yeah, I'm gonna have some gameplay down right below me of me playing the deck. And yeah, and actually Thoughtseize has been detrimental in this just because it is so slow and there's so much aggro out there. I think Thoughtseize has been it's actually hurt me a lot more than it's been better, unfortunately. But what do y'all think?
I'm in love with the deck. Like, it looks really fucking dope. Like, holy shit, you have refined the shit out of it since the last time you talked about it. And I love the, like, you know, the term or the coin term that's been coming around, you know, like Reanimator. It's fucking dope, dude. Like, we've been wanting Reanimator on this show for a while. We finally got it, and then we got it in the form with Praetors. Yeah, no, I completely like it. I agree with the numbers you're talking about. You know, I didn't even really think about that with the adventure cards or whatever they're called. They're super good. They work really well with this deck. I really like Knight of the Reliquary. It works well with dumping lands in your graveyard. You're benefiting from everything, right?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that Knight of the Reliquary has worked so well in this deck, especially against those red blue white decks, because I can dump a land and I can go grab my freaking Bajuka Bog, and then I just exile their graveyard. Or like when I'm running against the low CMC decks, I go grab a Blast Zone, and like it's super powerful, and I'm constantly getting lands in my deck. So Knight of the Reliquary is something that needs to be answered, which is a good thing. Like you know, you always want people, like, if they're going to answer something, answer something that's not as meaningful as a Praetor, right? You know?
Yeah. The only thing I would say would make this better is take out the Llanowar Elves and put in what's the 1-mana Planeswalker that is what is it called? It's obviously not in this format. It is the elf that's gold. It's not a Planeswalker. It's like a coin. It's like a cute
dude, are you kidding me? The black-green guy?
Deathrite Shaman.
Deathrite Shaman. I would love to have Deathrite Shaman in here. Are you kidding me? This deck would be so powerful with Deathrite Shaman.
Deathrite Shaman is like, it's the coin term, Hoshi, back when we played competitive. They're like, it's the 1-mana Planeswalker because its abilities are so good.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, didn't he get banned or something?
In certain formats, yeah. I think he got banned in Legacy or something. But yeah, what do you think of the deck, Hosh?
I love it. I think it's really great. Jin Kataxis, I'm a little like iffy on. I think he's like the worst, like next to the haste one, the worst Praetor, unfortunately. I think if you're running him, you need some way of like recycling your deck, because he draws you 7 cards every turn, so you can deck yourself so easily with that thing. On top of, like, you know, milling yourself a lot. The one thing that I would change out, since you were complaining about the Thoughtseize, which, you know, obviously super strong card, is change those out for Stitcher Suppliers. Stitcher Supplier is such a good card that helps you mill more, and it's a body on the field, and it's one of those bodies that people don't really want to interact with, because if they hit it, you know, it's a really good blocker, because if you block, then hey, you throw more stuff in the bin, right? Which is exactly what you're wanting. Makes your knight bigger. So I think Stitcher is something that's not gonna hurt you like Thoughtseize is. In fact, it's actually gonna save you more health. Yeah. So that would be really the only thing that I would change out of this. I'm not sure about Realm Cloak Giant, but I mean, hey, you're the one playing it, so. I think it's an interesting add.
So what makes it so good is Grizzly Salvage just basically puts a board wipe in my hand, rather than like throwing instant like board wipes into my graveyard that you can't get back. It puts a board wipe into my hand.
Okay, now I get it. Yeah, that's great. I do like that. That's. And
smart. I did want to say again, Jess Aether was said that deck looks sweet. Thank you. But I will say that Mire Triton, I think people play against this card very poorly. They see Mire Triton it's like a lightning bolt, a lightning rod to them, when like, because people are so worried about losing their creatures, where in reality, like, just lose your creature. Who cares, you know? Like, especially when you're doing aggro, you're going to lose creatures. That's just how it works. Don't get rid of my Mire Triton. Just let it block, you know? It's not that big of a deal. And I will say another thing with it, though, is I have Unburial Rites my Mire Triton like many times over and over.
I've done that too.
Just because it gains me 2 life and it mills me 2. Like, that card is so freaking good.
And it's death touch too. It kills a lot of stuff. It's a very, the thing that sucks is it only mills 2.
Yeah.
Stitcher Supplier mills a lot more, I feel like. But yeah, I've never unbarrel-rized Stitcher Supplier, and I have unbarrel-rized Mire Triton because I didn't have any other good targets, and it gained me life and was a death touch creature. So it's really good. You might even want to throw another one of those in there.
Yeah. Super dig it. I'm loving all of our decks. Obviously, you know, extreme left, extreme right, right in the middle. All the good stuff. Mwah. If you've been following us at the Mana Dorks on our YouTube channel, on our Spotify, please make sure you give us a follow. If you listen to us on the road, go to our YouTube. If you listen to us on YouTube, hey, take us on the road. We're on everything that you can, like literally everything. iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spotify, whatever. Just take us on the road. Give us a thumbs up. Click that bell notification. It really helps us out. And yeah, those are the decks. Obviously, they're going to be posted in the description. We want to hear from you guys. Do you like them? Are you winning with them? Is there any changes that you would like to make? Maybe there's some cards that we forgot. Please let us know. And if you want to get closer to us, be sure to join our Discord, which will also be posted in the description below. Become part of the Dork family, and it's just a lot of nonsensical fun. We post a lot of memes, you know, deck lists, and it's just a grand old time. So it's a really cool, close-knit family, and we would love for y'all you to join. And with that, we're going to go into our end step. We are running late. For news, I don't think we're going to say anything other than I think we're going to work on a new segment where Hoshi, I mean, we're all extremely busy, but we're going to plan this out to where Hoshi plays these Jank decks. And there's so many archetypes that have been around in Historic. We would love to showcase all that to you. Might not be Hoshi's cup of tea, but he does love playing Jank. So shoot those Jank decks to us. We would love to show them to you guys on stream and on our YouTube channel. And then finally, we'll go into our cleanup. That is social media promo. Everything's popping up on screen. You can find us on literally anything. So if you're on something else, go to the other thing, as I've already previously stated. And then you can, you know, join us in our Discord.
Oh, yeah. Shit,
man.
Dude.
Yeah.
I think this is where my body ultimately gives out. So if y'all don't see me next week, I am dead.
That's where we finish whatever we've been drinking.
Yeah.
So put them up, and for everyone out there, put them up. Cheers. We love you all. Thank you for following. We'll see you all next week.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining. See y'all.
Peace out.
Light buzz. See you later, chat. We love you. We love you, fam.
Peace. See ya.